Big Brother recap: another houseguest bites the dust, who became juror number 2, despite the rumors that Rachel wasn't really gone, and despite all that hoopla that she was possibly the mastermind. The internet's hopes that the Red Queen would return, for anything other than a chat with Julie, that is, have been officially squashed. But this circus still needs a winner, my friends, so onward we must go. Lauren winning head of household made this big ol' bummer of a week that much worse. By the end of Wednesday's veto episode, Will, Ashley and Keanu were left on the block after nominee Morgan conquered the BB Comics comp and earned herself safety. So did Lauren's Keanu backdoor plan come to fruition? The house guests keep throwing around the word backdoor, but the BB blockbuster has more or less nullified the backdoor strategy altogether. If a house guest has an opportunity to save him or herself, then it's not really a backdoor, right? I digress. In the BB blockbuster competition, players were tethered by a rope that was tangled up, down and all around a luggage cart. The nominees had to crawl through the cart to untangle themselves, and when they had enough free rope, run across to insert a key into their individual podiums. After a few minutes of climbing and crawling, Keanu won the competition, thereby earning safety for the night. The house guests then voted between the two comp losers, and when Julie announced the results, Will was evicted by a vote of 3-2 and became the season's second jury member. Did the right person go home this week? Who are you rooting for at this point? Sound off in the comments. The final Power of Veto competition of Big Brother 27 has ended, and Morgan Pope emerged as the winner. This marks her 5th veto win of the season, solidifying her strong performance heading into the final 3. The competition took place just days before the live eviction that will determine the season's finalists. This result carries major weight because the veto winner not only secures safety but also decides who will stay in the game. Morgan now holds that power, and her choice will shape the path to the finale. According to the live feeds, she is leaning toward keeping Vince Panaro safe, which leaves Ashley Hollis and Ava Pearl vulnerable. Power of Veto decides final 3. Morgan's win came shortly after she claimed head of household in week 11, securing her spot in the final 3. The veto competition featured Morgan, Vince, Ashley, and Ava. With her victory, Morgan gained the power to control the last eviction before finale night. Live feed conversations showed Morgan hinting she would not use the veto on her nominees, Ashley and Ava. Instead, Vince will decide who joins the final 3, as he casts the sole vote to evict. This makes his choice between Ashley and Ava critical. Ashley has argued that Vince will pick her, pointing to Ava's history of being nominated multiple times. Trusted entertainment outlets like CBS confirmed the Power of Veto results through live updates. The stakes are high because the decision will shape not only who makes it to finale night but also who has the strongest case to win the $750,000 prize. Analysis: Morgan's risk and Vince's power. Although Morgan holds the veto, the outcome leaves her exposed. If she does not remove a nominee, Vince controls the eviction vote. This could hurt her chances in the final 2 if Vince decides she is too strong to sit next to in the end. Analysts point out that if Vince wins the final head of household, he may cut Morgan, believing the jury views her as the strongest competitor. Meanwhile, both Ava and Ashley might prefer Vince over Morgan in a final 2 scenario because of his strained relationships with jury members. This dynamic makes Morgan's path risky despite her veto win. For Morgan, the clearest route to victory is to win the final HOH and take control of her fate. If she eliminates Vince at that stage, it would be a bold move likely to impress the jury and secure her the win. Probably would have been more of a landslide against Vince than against Ashley, which is why I was very torn. Even now, part of me feels like I would have taken Ashley, because I know I would have beat her, but I could have taken Vince to beat him too. But it was hard, because when she won, and I was holding her hand on the way out and telling her how proud I was of her and congratulating her, part of me just had this feeling that I was going to be the last juror. And it's like when things are out of your control, you can't let it get the best of you. Always stand by the fact, when you try to control something, it controls you. So I knew in that moment that I could look back and leave this house being proud of the game that I played, and even if I didn't win this game, I do believe that people are going to remember the game that I played, and when they hear Big Brother 27 they might even mention my name before Ashley. I mean, like it's something that I know that while I didn't win the game, I was the best in the game, and I'm very flattered by that, and I'm honored to hold that title, if you will. Being a seventh juror, you got to cast a vote, and you were the sole vote for Vince. Was that in spite of Ashley or were you just being loyal to Vince? Yeah, no, it was definitely not in spite of Ashley. Ashley cooked in her speech. I said it before, I was like, she cooked him like a well-done steak. I was so proud of her, truly. And it was hard, because I remember when I was jostling the keys in the bag, I kept going back and forth between Ashley and Vince, and I was just like, I played this whole game with Vince. I'm one of the only people who knows his story and knows how much this meant to him, and I know that if roles were reversed, he would have voted for me. So it was just one of those ways of saying thank you for playing this game with me, and the fact that we didn't go after each other when we had so many times where we could have, and I know he would have done the same for me. So just one of those ways where it's just like, you know, he wasn't gonna win. He knew he wasn't going to win, and I would not take back the vote, kind of. Lauren was not trusting of me because of the way my early game was where a lot of people said I couldn't be trusted, and all this, even though I proved that I was an honest and loyal player, all you had to do was have a conversation with me. I told Lauren straight up, like, if Keanu was your target, on your HOH, like you kind of stacked the block, like I was your target, which I was, let's call a spade a spade. We're gonna have a woman-to-woman talk. So, for me, I knew working with Lauren was not in the cards. For me, neither of us was interested, because I had extended so many opportunities for her to work with us. And I do feel like the smart move for her would have been to work with Vince, and we would have protected her, and she would have been able to kind of skate underneath, just like Ashley did. Ashley basically took the opening that Lauren could have had. And so I feel like there was never a time that I thought about putting him up, like there was a brief moment when it came to Ava and Ashley, I was like I could use the veto and Vince could go home here. But the problem is, Ava was a very strong social competitor, and everyone loved her. To go through a game where an hoe is thrown to you and you win a clutch maze where Rachel Riley goes home. I mean, she didn't have to win the rest of the season. And if she was to go the entire season having an hoe thrown to her, and just having a clutch maze and ending up in the finals, she could have won the entire game. I mean, making it that far, it's just it was too risky to keep Ava, where Vince had already done so much damage to his game and to so many people that, to me, making that move just would have been silly, because then I would have had two people that I may not have beat, and I knew Ashley was going to be a competitor, even talked to Vince about it, where I was like, if Ashley wins this last stage of HOH, I'm going to have to make sure my speech is cooking, because her social game was just as good as mine, and we had very similar moves. So it's like, it's really going to come down to who they felt was going to be the best player. Is there anything you would have done differently, or any regrets you had in the game? That's a good question. I don't think I regret anything, because I played one hell of a game. I think the only thing I would have tried to do more of is take more time in the diary room to really think about what people said to me, to really think about things, because I'm a naturally trusting person, and Ashley played a great social game. Hers was one of the best, and I even told her that. Were there times where she could have told little white lies to me? Of course, she was an attorney. She lied to all of us, but I was a gamer. I lied to all of them. It's just funny, because it's like I look at a younger version of myself when it comes to the social game, like we played very similar games when it came to the social game, mine was just a little bit more threatened than hers, which I felt would have been more compelling in a speech, because, I'm a social threat and a competitive threat, and people still can't get rid of me. Do you think if you told the house guests that you were a gamer, it would have hurt your game? I do think so. And I remember one time I was talking to Rachel, and she came up to me, and she's like, Keanu is a competitive threat, and he's a gamer. She mentioned that he was a gamer, and it just re-solidified to me that if a Big Brother legend can pick up on what a gamer means, I knew better. That was the one secret that I knew I couldn't share. And man, when I heard them talking about games and stuff, I was sitting there, like, I want to talk about it so bad. I want to talk and tell y'all you guys realize you guys are playing with a professional competitive gamer right now, right? But, I can't. So, I think one of my other best moves was not talking about that, and it was hard. It was so hard to not say that I had that planned in my final speech to drop the bomb of who people were actually playing with. And unfortunately, I didn't get to make that speech, but now they all know, and I can proudly talk about being a gamer.